गए कि आ जाएगा एक गड़बड़.
So this is mind and this is ego. Very simple. If you want, and then when you are asking me how to remain neutral or how to bring this mind into that balance, you cannot. That is not possible. Because the moment you try to bring the balance, the mind disappears. So how will you bring the mind into balance? Because the imbalance itself is the mind. The imbalance itself is the mind. So when you try to bring the balance, the mind disappears. That means the attachment disappears. So if you come to that knowing, your own knowing, somewhere a recognition, a realization happens that I am not the body. That what I call my is not mine. If you come to that recognition, that knowing automatically brings a balance inside. Because what brings the imbalance is the attachment and the desire to possess, desire to control, brings the imbalance. So the desire to control means you are not understanding or you are not knowing that you cannot possess it, you cannot control it, because you want to control, you want to possess, you want to desire for something. The desire is born out of your ignorance, that you don't understand, you don't know that you have no freedom to control, you have no freedom to possess. The moment you come to the realization, this inner understanding, the inner clarity itself is the balanced state, where there is an attachment without a possessiveness, without a desire to control it. So there is a momentary, a temporary attachment which is created because the life demands an attachment for that particular functioning. That means if there is a temporary attachment, means a temporary mind is born, which we call the functionary mind. So functionary mind creates a temporary attachment, and temporary attachment is born out of the demand of the life at that moment, what is to be responded. So when you want to respond, when you want to act, you have to have a desire to do something to it. So a temporary desire is born. So there is a temporary desire, and whenever it is fulfilled, whenever it is over, it comes back to its natural state. This is the balance. This is the balance. But that you are not creating a desire to possess it, or you are not functioning from that preconditioned mind where you are already possessed or already attached to something. સંસારમાં સરસ્યો રહે પણ મન ન મારી પાસ. You are in the world but not of the world, not attached to the world. That means you are not doing something to throw away the world or throw away the mind, but you have some clarity inside which puts you into that state where you don't create a permanent attachment. Permanent attachment is born out of your ignorance. Agyan, out of your ignorance. When you come to the knowing of it, the Gyan, the Bodha, the understanding of the truth, the reality, that there is nothing that you can possess. There is something which demands a temporary attachment, and the moment it is finished, it has to go at that moment. At that moment. Then the inner balance remains with all the attachments together. So inner balance remains with that temporary mind, the functionary mind together. So there is nothing that you are throwing away the mind or doing something to the mind or trying to be free from the mind, but you are understanding that you need a mind to function. You need a mind. But that mind is not a permanent mind which is born out of the ignorance, but a temporary, a functionary mind which is born out of the knowing, the understanding, or the demand of the life itself. So there is no way that you can create a situation where you can bring the balance. Don't try to bring the balance, but try to understand what brings or what makes this balance happen. You understand what I am saying? What makes this balance happen? And that is the understanding. Understanding your understanding, not the borrowed understanding of any master. Your own clarity inside. Your own recognition, realization inside that what you are is having no name, no label, no possession, no attachment, still somebody, something which is aware of everything that is happening, that center which is aware, which is conscious of all attachments happening and the attachments going. This is how you remain into that state of witnessing. That state of witnessing is what we are. Not the state of attachment or the recognition that we create through the attachment is what we are. The ignorance we have is about this not knowing of this whole phenomena of the functioning of life. So if you understand this, then it becomes very simple. Then the balance is not something that you can try to bring, but you remain into the balance all the time, into that neutral state. So whenever the life demands an attachment, it is there. So whenever I watch the TV, it is a temporary demand of the attachment to be created, but I don't carry the attachment permanently there. You see, what you are asking is how I can remain indifferent while you are watching the TV. You cannot, because that moment the life demands a temporary attachment. You see, that moment life demands a temporary attachment, and that moment you become Indian. Time being. But the moment it is over, you don't carry that whole attachment that I am an Indian. Because then you don't carry any recognition. It is not that I am Atman, Paramatman, Brahman. Even that is also an attachment. So somebody who claims that I am a Paramatman or I am a Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, is in a way, it's a kind of recognition. When you are into that witness state, there is no recognition. There is nothing there. There is nobody there. There is no label there. So it is like an empty mirror. Whenever something comes in front of the mirror, it reflects and becomes that. The moment it goes away, it becomes either empty or reflects something else. But momentarily when it is reflecting the person, it becomes that. You understand what I am saying?
It shall come that moment.
At that moment, the reflection is of that what is in front of it. So it is the reverse way. Normally, the object creates the subject there. When you are with the mind, you create the subject there. But when you are into that state of witnessing, the object creates the subject here. Otherwise, there is nobody here. You create me here. When you are in front of me, Kiran is here. But when you are gone, Kiran is gone. Then somebody else will create me here. Something else will create me here. So it is not only the Kiran, but sitting in front of you, Kiran as a master sitting here. But when I sit in front of my wife, Kiran as a husband sitting there. When I go to my factory, sitting there, Kiran as a boss sitting there. So there is a different attachments that you create and different recognitions that you get according to the situations or the objects creating the reflection here. But the Kiran has no recognition. It is empty. You understand what I am saying? So that is the state of balance. I hope I am clear.